What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Osmond Wonder Podcast.
Hey guys, it's Chris. Warren and I have prepared another awesome segment, a podcast for you guys where we have a lot of questions and we're really looking for your guys' involvement. Now, I had to do this weird little segue because for some annoying reason, the first 2 minutes or so of the audio was very poor. So I'm just jumping in and saying the topic today and what we want to hear your feedback about is, do you believe that Deadpool, the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine movie, is make or break for the MCU? Didn't think you wanted to hear a lot of static microphone noises while we jumped into the podcast, but it does clear itself up. So that's what you're missing. We're cutting out the first 2 minutes. Do you believe that this is make or break for the MCU, Deadpool and Wolverine? Let us know in the comment section and listen to what we have to say.
What, you have a comment or question? Concern?
Just based off of the way you worded that, it kind of gave me a visualization. I don't think that this is make or break Doomsday.
No.
I think this is their best opportunity to redirect. I don't think it's, we're going to start heading in a bad trajectory. I think the reality of it is, whether we like it or not, whether we think so or not, we're already there. Like, we're already headed in the wrong direction. Like, fans are losing interest, superhero fatigue, no emotional connection, call it whatever you want. Ant-Man shouldn't have defeated Kang. The Marvels was just a boring storyline. Secret Invasion had a terrible ending. It's just all this negativity. We're already, but I think Deadpool is an opportunity for Marvel after they've been going on and on and on and on and on about, guys, we're going to step back. We're going to make better quality. Like, this is their chance to show us what that means. And if they miss that mark, the plummeting is going to speed up. We're already kind of dropping. This is their chance to dig their way back out.
Well, I think this is definitely by far the most excited fans have been in a pretty long time. And I just want to disclaimer, if you all have really, really, really enjoyed the MCU, all the recent projects, good for you. Awesome. Like truly awesome. Because I wish I have enjoyed everything to the best that I possibly could. And I might have, right? But that doesn't mean I've, thought everything is 10 out of 10, right? I've been disappointed with some projects. I've had a lot of fun with some projects, but I do think we are missing a big spectacle from the MCU, which I feel like we haven't necessarily gotten in a while, maybe with Guardians 3. But I talked about I think I talked about this with you or with Law, the movies prior to phase 4 used to be huge events. They used to be these really big deals. And that I have not felt in a really long time. I haven't felt that in a really long time. Granted, there's a lot more content, but to your point, and I kind of said this as well, I don't think this is a make or break deal, but I have seen a lot of people say it in comments on my Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook even. I've heard a lot of people talk and say, if Deadpool and Wolverine sucks, I'm done with the MCU. Now, first of all, I can understand where people are coming from, but second of all, I do understand that that's probably a small majority of people, which is why we're asking y'all right now, what do you think? How do you personally feel? Not the whole fandom, but I'm asking each one of you personally, individually. Please let me know. How will you feel if Deadpool and Wolverine sucks? Now, I do want to disclaimer that I do not think it's going to suck.
No,
I think it's gonna
not even a little bit. Yeah.
And we're going to get into why. And we talked, with the Variety article, I talked about it yesterday. But I think with everything that's up and coming with the MCU, they do have a really good opportunity to show us that they have drastically improved. But if Deadpool and Wolverine does, I don't think it'll flop. I don't think the movie can possibly flop. I think it makes money no matter what. But that doesn't mean it's good. Well, so I'm talking financially, right? I don't think the movie will financially flop because I think just the masses is going to go see it no matter what. The question is, will the masses like it, right? So I'm specifically speaking about failing as a good movie because I don't think it'll fail financially no matter what. I just don't.
I want to hear a lot from the viewers today. You guys hear from us for more, and I mean, exclusively, right? I do want to hear, and we can even maybe on the next one revisit some of the comments, but I do want to hear, I think from my perspective, and this is as somebody who edits and works with Marvel content every single day, but also deeply and profoundly loves it. But I feel like some of the lists of projects, we were actually just kind of talking before we got onto the podcast about some of the projects that had come out. it feels more like homework than entertainment. And that goes directly to what
Yeah.
Warren was talking about, where you're like, it was these big to-dos. You know, you and your buddies were ready to go watch these premieres, and now it's like, oh, Echo came out. I gotta watch that so I know what's going on. And as a content producer about Marvel and as somebody heavily involved, it does feel like homework. So the question is for y'all, does it feel like homework? Does it feel like I have to watch this so I know what's going on? Because I am a Marvel super fan. That is, a name tag I wear on my shirt. That is a point of
Right.
pride.
Yeah.
But do some of these projects feel like homework? And that is
Well,
for me a true statement.
and to that point, like I think I'm about, as big as Marvel fan.
Breaking
So
news.
shocker that you can, shocker that you can
Hold
be.
the presses.
But even like we talked about this before, like I didn't watch, like I had no interest in What If season 2, right? Like there are still projects that I'm just kind of like, I'll watch it. I'm not super excited about it. It almost is homework. Like I'll watch it to keep up. And there's always like a little bit of excitement for me for everything, right?
Hope.
But it has become a lot, right? It has become a lot. So has it become tedious for some people? Probably. There and I see it. I see it in the comments and stuff. People are like, I'm not gonna watch this. Right? Like I'm not gonna watch this. So here's the deal. Let me pull this back up. See if I can. Nope. Yep. So here's kind of the upcoming slate. There's some things missing, some things not officially announced. This was from the last San Diego Comic-Con. We're missing Deadpool and Wolverine, which is obviously coming next, but how does everyone feel about this? The biggest question I have here is like, Deadpool and Wolverine's like right here. So if Deadpool and Wolverine fails with the audience, how do we feel about Blade, Ironheart, Agatha, Daredevil, Captain America, Brave New World, the Thunderbolts? How do we feel about those being the next projects coming up, right? What happens if Deadpool really is kind of a miss with fans? How does MCU move forward? Because are these projects good enough to go, no, we are getting better. We are revamping Marvel. We are working on being better. Can these projects show this? I don't know. I don't know how many people. I know a lot of people have interest in Blade because I for sure do. I have interest in all these projects. I really
Right.
do. But I'm asking you all, right? I'm asking the fans here. Are people interested in Ironheart? Right? Like, do you guys care? Do you care about Agatha? Because I've seen people say they don't. Right?
Right.
Captain America, Brave New World. It still says New World harder there, but a Brave New World. Do people? Since a lot of these have been pushed back a year and undergone reshoot script changes, like how do people feel about this? I feel like if Deadpool really does miss with the fans, then this will be a mode. Fans will enter panic mode after that. I think I might kind of start to. I have never really worried about the MCU. I know a lot of people have, and I have said in my videos, like, the MCU isn't what it used to be. And I don't necessarily mean like, oh, it's not as great as it used to be. I don't think it is as great as it used to be, as like, phase 3. But when I say that, I mean, it's just so different because we have Disney Plus shows, special presentations, Halloween specials, stuff like that. Like it's just very, very different in a lot of different ways. But for those people, and I do think there's a good amount of people who think that just quality hasn't been there, do they check out if Deadpool and Wolverine is bad because they see what's up and coming and might not care?
I think as a whole, like even looking beyond Deadpool, which I know is very important to jump up the multiverse storyline. Like this is the true entrance where we're going to start seeing some of the multiverse stuff start to connect.
Right.
But regardless of the success of Deadpool, now that I'm like sitting here looking at it and listening to you talk, I don't think I even see the overwhelming amount of excitement for Ironheart, Agatha, and Blade. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are excited for it. But I do think I have a little fear. Like, I think we're going to have all this hype from Deadpool, and then we're going to kind of be undershot again with Blade. I think Ironheart, Blade, and Agatha are going to be a lot more of what we've seen earlier on in Phase 5. I don't think that means necessarily they're going to be bad, although some people might translate that to that. I just think it's going to be a little bit more of that less exciting building, which is what we've been saying since the end of Endgames. Oh, we're in a building phase. Oh, we're being introduced to these characters. And Captain America is even still in a building phase. It's just really going to come down to the writing. And I think that's a really cool segue into the Variety article that you talked about yesterday.
Let me pull that up.
And I will say now, for the first time in the history of this YouTube channel, where
Wait,
I have,
wait.
where I have,
There you go.
yeah, I need to be big for this one. Make it big. Where I have previously 100% marched on like the good little soldier I am with the line that we all love, in Feige we trust. I will say here today,
What you gonna say?
should we? You know, read the
Mm.
title of this article. The one thing that has caused everybody to be the most excited about the MCU, arguably, maybe since Spider-Man No Way Home, but even arguably since Endgame, Kevin Feige was against. Right? And that definitely is interesting. And it's not just, oh, what Ryan Reynolds was pitching. He actually told Hugh Jackman not to come back at all. And I understand the why behind it. Oh, you finished off really well. But I think the overwhelming majority of fans, regardless, would have wanted to see Hugh Jackman and Deadpool in the MCU together, make it happen. That's what we want. Now we're there, thank you to Ryan Reynolds. But Kevin Feige was against that. And it's giving me questions.
I can fight for Kevin Feige here. Not that I like know him. Just so everyone knows, just like a disclaimer here, right? This isn't me officially speaking for Kevin Feige here, but I am putting myself inside of Kevin Feige's shoes, and I just think from this article, from this Variety article, and the Empire article that's about to come out in like 5 days, 6 days, whenever. I don't know where we're gonna post this, but it sounds like Feige just really didn't have any plans for Deadpool. Like, yes, the Fox and all that stuff happened, and you know, I think it was like a clean slate almost. And yeah, I'm sure once they did, because you have to imagine, like, at the start of Phase 4, yeah, they decided, Kang, He Who Remains, was going to be the villain, but did he know the extent of the Secret War story that they were going to do? Right. So in the beginning, was he really thinking, like, let's bring all these characters back for awesome cameos? Right. I don't know if that's what he was thinking at first. I think he was thinking, I have the Fantastic Four now. I have the X-Men now. How do I get them into the MCU? It's not going to be Phase 4 because that's too soon. How do I get them in Phase 5? How do I get them in Phase 6? And I think actually Ryan Reynolds probably really helped solidify some of the story points for the Multiverse Saga and Secret Wars by pitching so many ideas, because in my mind, that wasn't on Kevin Feige's radar. And they were simply like, hey, I want to do another Deadpool movie. I want Hugh Jackman to return. That's probably what was pitched at first. And he was probably like, I wouldn't return Hugh. Like, you had the perfect ending. But here's also the thing. Patrick Stewart said that as well. And they did that in a good way. And there's the same thing doing it with Hugh Jackman. So I think it was when they first approached Kevin Feige, it probably, like, none of it was solidified. Like, I probably think it was just Ryan and Hugh going like, we want a Deadpool movie and Wolverine's coming back. And Kevin Feige was like, this wasn't in my plans. And hey, Hugh, I don't know if you want to undo what you just did there. But then as things went on, because we have no idea when this was pitched to Kevin Feige, right? This could have been pitched to him years ago or after the Fox thing happened, right? We have no idea. Like 25 different pitches for the movie, ideas that he had. That's a lot. And that didn't happen in months, right? So I think it just was very early. There wasn't really much of a plan solidified. I don't think much of the new Multiverse Saga had been solidified. So that's why I think, like, as time went on and Feige figured out more of his plan for the Multiverse Saga as a whole, and they figured out the plan for Deadpool and Wolverine as a whole, that's when I think he was like, okay, this makes sense. This is fine. Let's freaking go.
So let's follow up then with a couple questions, because maybe, I like your response. I don't think that's a bad response on behalf of Mr. Feige. Like, hey, we're still figuring out. This could have been years ago, this conversation, and now we've turned it into a headline. I do think that the question should be asked, is Feige, up to date with what the fans want? The fans have changed since Iron Man 1. I mean, a whole new generation of people who didn't grow up reading comics are watching these movies now. Fathers are watching Iron Man with their children for the first time who have never read a comic book in their life. And that's their entire exposure to Marvel, is the MCU. And that is a staple. Marvel isn't going anywhere. Is this the end of Marvel? No. Like Iron Man, the entire
go anywhere.
it's going to be there forever. And guess what? 10 years from now, if they completely start over, it's going to be great, and it will always be great, and it's going to
Yeah.
invoke that thing that superheroism has been invoking since whenever it was invented. Right? David
Right.
and Goliath, right? Like, it's going to exist forever. But does Kevin Feige, who's got this brilliant comic book mind, know how to interact with a generation of people who didn't read the comics, who didn't grow up? Oh man, I remember a lot of the people on this channel for the years and years we've been here doing it. I grew up reading Spider-Man. I'm really excited to see that on the big screen. I grew up reading, the Infinity Saga, Thanos, all these characters. Now we're working with people who didn't. Comic
So
books aren't as popular as they used to be.
no, that's true. But again, this is me coming to Feige's defense based off of what I know. And this is actually an issue I have. I'm like for your point, but taking it away from Kevin Feige, because we know that he was stretched too thin,
Right.
but we also know
By
that
Disney.
bad hiring decisions were made,
By
right?
Disney.
And right, exactly. No, exactly. But we know that people were hired to direct TV shows
Mhm.
and movies who have freaking no idea about the source material, right? Like the director for the Marvels is a perfect example. We heard about a lot of stuff happening. Like she had to call Destin Daniel Cretton and be like, what the heck is going on? Like that's on Marvel. That's on Disney. You shouldn't be hiring people just to,
Get the name.
whatever you diversity hire, whatever it is, right? And I'm all for them giving people a shot, like smaller directors a shot, but make
People
sure
who've
they
earned it.
know, right. Make sure they know the source material. Like when they walk in for the interview, they should be saying, like, yeah, I read the comics as a kid. I watched like these TV shows, right? I am up to date with every single movie on the MCU, with every single
Mhm.
project. Like that should be like the standard.
Yeah.
Right. So I agree with what you're saying, but I don't think it's on Kevin Feige. It kind of is because I'm sure
I guess
there's a longer
everything's
hiring
on Kevin
process.
Feige,
Right. Exactly. But I understand he's trying to give people like chances because he might have liked some work they did for some other things. But man, I feel like there has to be a standard of you have watched literally everything from
Mhm.
the MCU, Disney Plus shows, everything phase 1, 2, 3, now 4, almost now 5.
Yeah.
Literally everything. Right.
I mean, we're even hiring people in the Sony universe that don't even know what universe there is. Like that's a whole different
Right. That's a whole
problem.
different thing.
And
Right.
a
But
mess though. But in they're just producing so much content, and they're just
right.
grabbing names and stars and directors, and it is kind of just wobbling out. And then on top of that, within the fan base, we do have that other disagreement. The comic book originals versus I was born in 2002 and Iron Man came out in 2008, and that was my childhood, was watching Iron Man, not
Right.
reading the comics. And I think those two groups, because those kids are now 20 something, but those two groups are kind of clashing with the direction they think the MCU. Yeah, right. Hello, 21-year-olds. But that group is clashing with the older generation, the comic book guys, because they don't care about the comic book accuracies. They care about the characters that they've developed an emotion with. And the problem is, none of those characters are coming up in the storyboards. Blade.
Well,
They don't.
and right.
Ironheart,
Yeah.
Agatha, Daredevil. Like maybe they know Daredevil but those are not characters that generation of now 20-year-olds know anything about and maybe don't care.
Well, and I think Bob Iger recently said that in a quarterly meeting or something. He said they are going to go back to focusing on the more popular characters, which I think is a good idea because because you can introduce the smaller characters in the bigger movies and then feel how the crowd feels about them, right? And then if it's positive, go from there and give them their own show, give them their own movie. I am excited about like Ironheart, but I'm excited for the story more than anything. Like Ironheart as a character, like, yeah, there's potential there, right? But the story, because we've heard it's gonna, be mystical, magical, Mephisto,
Opening up that part of
the hood, right? That's really cool. Going into Blade, the more, this mystical side of things, going into the Midnight Suns, like that's really exciting. And if they do that right, that's awesome. And then, we've heard they've been meeting with writers for the X-Men. And I'm hoping, since Kevin Feige has thought about it for such a long time, and it's really important to him, the writers are meeting with Kevin Feige, and they do have background of reading the X-Men comics. Like, it baffles me that they've hired people that don't know the source material. And I'm okay with, them not 100% adapting
Mhm.
comics into the big screen, because then we know everything that would happen. And I think they've done a good job at kind of like meshing it.
Yeah,
Like
making their
especially with
own
X-Men
story.
97, right? Like with Bastion, it's not the exact origin story, but it's pretty close. It's
It
just in a
pokes
way
at it,
that
yeah.
fits the story, right? Like it's still kind of like Nimrod and Master Mold, but they don't go through the same exact events to
Mhm.
create Bastion. But he does get there kind of through some of the same ways. Like that's fun,
Right.
you know? And I think they do a good job with that. But
There is a
you
disconnect in
but
there.
you still have to know that
Yeah.
source material, which and again, it baffles me that that it's like, it's like when they did the Star Wars announcement, Charmin Obaid-Chinoy. I could genuinely think people did not care that she was a woman. People did not care that, she directed these documentaries and everything like that. People just care that she just doesn't have any Star Wars experience whatsoever. That's what I cared
Hacking the
about.
fan base.
The first thing I said was, what qualifies her to direct a Star Wars movie, one of the biggest franchises in the world? And the same thing goes with Marvel. They
Yeah.
should be asking that what qualifies you to direct a Marvel project? And so one of those qualifications has to be they know the source material.
Who
Like
Luke
it just
Sky
should be.
consider?
Yeah, right. If you're like, I've never read a comic in my life, I would be like, well, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Why did
No, I
we
don't
even
disagree.
have this interview? But I do think there's a lot of excitement. Oh, and something not listed on here is the Fantastic Four. Oh no, Fantastic Four. This has a lot of excitement for me.
Yeah, that's the
This
bridge
has
that
a lot.
Deadpool
And in
needs
all
to
honesty,
build to.
Blade has a lot of excitement for me. I am excited about Captain America: Brave New World. I am really excited about Daredevil. I don't know what to think about Thunderbolts at the moment. It has a lot of potential, but I just don't know the direction they're going to go with it.
Other than Deadpool, I'm actually probably most excited for Thunderbolts.
Do you really?
I think so. I think, I love the monsters in the MCU and all of that. I'm nervous for Blade. I know they've been working really
Because
hard
they've
at
done
it.
so much to it. Yeah.
And that's where things start to get messed up. You've got so many different chefs in the kitchen. That's what happened with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I mean, it changed so much. Directors halfway through, and it just kept changing and changing until we just were kind of given something that you could tell was choppy and didn't make sense. So that's why I'm worried about Blade. I think Agatha will be really cool.
I
Do
think
I
it's going
think
to be
it's
great.
gonna save any days or create any? I mean, all the Disney Plus stuff in my mind is kind of like soft material. It's
Mhm.
hard to get super excited about it. The
And I've
watch
seen a lot of
parties
people
with you guys
comment
are
that.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah. I've seen a lot
when
of
it
people
is,
comment that about the Disney Plus stuff.
which is Ironheart, Agatha. I think Daredevil will be good. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be
Yeah.
dark. It's gonna be fun. But again, it's Disney Plus. It can only be so big of a deal in the media in the world when it's on Disney Plus, which isn't doing as well as Disney wants it to.
Sure.
And then I think Captain America might have some issues as well. Kind of similar to Blade.
I
I'm
think,
excited to see how that's going to connect to everything
yeah.
else because it's out on its own right now. But I think I'm the most excited for Thunderbolts from that list of 6 projects.
And I'm excited for it. I feel about it how you feel about Blade.
Yeah, no, and you're not wrong. That's the problem. All of these
Yeah.
projects kind of have that same problem, and it's just going
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
did they put the pieces back together properly. And for a brand that we're talking about being made or broken by one movie, I'm not worried about Deadpool. I'm worried about getting to Fantastic Four in one piece through these 6 projects because I think these 6 projects have the potential to be pretty rough. A lot of similarities from the beginning of Phase 5. I think there is opportunity for that to happen at the
It's
end.
actually a good point. Like getting to Secret Wars with as much as excitement as possible. That's
Where's the
actually a really good
emotion?
point. Do all of these projects and hopefully some really awesome announcement for Phase 6, do they get us to Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars to where Secret Wars can be bigger than Endgame? Or at least give us the same feeling
I
that
mean,
we
you think
had
about
for Endgame.
the emotional build up to
That's
Endgame.
what I mean.
And that's the
Can that
element for
can all
me.
this bring that to
Yeah.
it?
That's the element for me that is missing the most. There is
Mm,
no emotion. That's why Guardians of the Galaxy was so good. It was chock full of emotions. We
right.
knew the characters, we knew the stories, we knew the risks. I think some people are probably even let down that not as many of them died as they did because that emotion, well, it's true though. It's
Right.
that
Yeah, yeah,
emotion
yeah.
is so driving. That's what made Infinity War great. The moment where Iron Man, and Cap got over their BS and started working together, and then Spider-Man
Right.
died. Like all of these different moments, we could list them for forever, had an emotional impact on an entire generation of people, multiple generations of people. There's not a whole lot going on here that has done that for us. And that's
Mhm.
the fear is, yeah, I love Deadpool. I'm really excited to see him and Wolverine run around and cause a bunch of problems. But does that build emotion for me for the future?
I think that's a great point, and I think Deadpool will break the Marvel fandom in a good or bad way. Because I think it'll
Great,
break.
we're leaving that to Deadpool.
He
Hold on real
is
quick.
Marvel Jesus. There you go. Wait, what is the Funko Pop behind you?
Which one? I got
The
lots.
two of them fighting each other. There's two
This
and
one?
one. Yes. What is that?
Oh, this is one of the greatest Funko Pops ever created. Let me move all my
Is this Spider-Man?
red carpet paths. This is my red carpet tickets, guys. Bam.
It is. Okay. Yeah.
The
It's
pointing
Spider-Man
mean-
pointing at each other. That's what I thought it was. But for a second, I thought it might have been Deadpool because it's under some other Deadpool stuff.
No, I got some Deadpool ones too. I got
That's
pirate Deadpool naturally.
I mean, Chris loves pirates and Deadpool.
And I love Deadpool.
Makes sense.
Ah.
Perfect. Yeah. No, people joke he is the savior of Marvel, or has the potential to be, right? I do think it's either gonna take people who are like, I'm
done
like
with
on the
this."
fence about Marvel, and it'll either break them in, oh no, that was awesome, I'm excited again, or break them and go, yeah, I think I've lost.
And I don't
some
think
faith.
that's going to be a unanimous emotion either. I think some people will be like, I'm back. And I think some people will be like, yeah, my days of Marvel have probably come to an end with that. Like that was the final ride. Because it was
And then
like
you
all
have
the
the
nostalgia and all the fun. And they're just like, yeah.
Well, and then you have the people like me who will watch everything no matter what.
Oh yeah. We're always out
Like,
here
you
watching.
know, I'll just watch it all. And I guess try to not take everything so seriously so you can
Yes,
enjoy it a
that is
little
so
bit
true.
more, right? Like
With
I
that,
think
we
that's
agree.
the biggest thing. Yeah, like I think, I'll always
It's a movie.
right. I'll always love Marvel. And I have a lot of Marvel love that isn't just movies and shows, right? There's video games and comics and stories and stuff.
And childhood memories.
Right, exactly. Like it's more than just good or bad movies to me, good or bad shows to me. But I think if we can relax a little bit and not be so critical, we can definitely enjoy things a lot more. So to me, I don't know how you all feel, but I think for some individuals there is breaking moments, but I don't. It's like you said, Chris. I don't think the MCU will, and I think I open with this. I don't think MCU will ever die. And if they ever needed to, which it sounds like they're going to after Phase 6, they're just going to reset it.
Yep.
And
some of
start
those big
over,
characters
and that'll
back.
get people excited. Like, oh, fresh start,
Yeah.
some cool character, blah 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 blah, right? But I mean, holy crap, Phase 7, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Avengers, new Avengers, right? Like,
Yeah.
like they're basically restarting the Avengers, new Iron Man, new Captain America, blah 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 blah. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Right. That's exciting. Let's hope. And I actually think at that, no matter what happens, I think at that point, people are going to be really, really excited. Even if you're like, man, Phase 5 and 6 were crap, and I hated Secret Wars, blah blah blah. It's still really exciting knowing what's coming from Phase 6. And then they're gonna announce Doom as the main villain of the saga. Oh my gosh, everybody!
We saw Doom.
Right? Everybody's back in, right?
Even just seeing Doom for a couple seconds in an animated series, I was like,
I know, right? Everybody freaked out. I mean, gosh, yeah,
that's some power right there.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I've never really been worried. I've been worried about projects, but I've never thought like, wow, the MCU is in jeopardy. I've never thought that.
And it's easy for keyboard warriors to jump on the internet and be like, the MCU's dead franchise. Like, it's way bigger than any individual. Yeah. It's way bigger than any producer. It's way bigger than any actor. It is its entire own ecosystem and universe of emotion and connection and storytelling that exists on and off the screen. And yeah, I do think probably if I had to sit here and say yes or no, the next 6 projects after Deadpool are going to have a lot of the same stuff, and we're going to have another 2 years of people complaining. But like you mentioned, we're going to jump into this new stuff with new opportunities and new characters, new actors, old characters. It's going to be exciting, but more than anything, kind of to harp on what you just said, it's going to be what you make it. Like, you can get excited for it, or you can sit in the back and type your little typing on your little computer about, oh, it's terrible and it sucks. And then you can just become a Star Wars fan, because that's the entire Star Wars franchise fan base.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. Like, I'm really excited about most of these projects. I'm actually really excited for Agatha. I think it's gonna be different and cool. Captain America. I do have hopes for, since they've done so much to try and fix whatever they had before. Thunderbolts again, I'm like, oh man, it could be really great, it could be really good. Ironheart, I am more curious than anything. Excuse me, but Blade, I'm really excited for. I think there's a lot of potential. But I think there, like you said, there's going to be a good majority of fans who maybe
It's already
view it
failed in
all
their
as the
mind.
same.
Yeah.
Well, no, just kind of view it as the same thing. It's like, oh yeah, it's kind of cool, kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe nothing mind blowing, but I think Phase 6 will start to change that.
And I'll actually sit here and say I think the vast majority, like maybe even 75, 80% of people, that is their mentality. The voice of the minority outweighs the voice of the majority. Like I
Right,
think
of
most
course.
people are just kind of chilling. Like
I think a lot of
I'm
people are
not
just
losing
chilling.
my clothes over this, but hey, it's exciting and I'm having fun because it's Marvel. They're not jumping on the internet and typing this is the greatest thing I ever seen, but they're also not jumping on and typing that this is garbage. And I
Right.
think that those people don't really have a voice, so share your voice.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the vast majority of people. It's like, yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's not amazing. It's not bad. I'm excited for the future. And that's where we are headed.
Right. And there's like glimpses of amazing in everything, and right,
Yeah,
and then some
absolutely
bad,
true.
and we're like Secret Invasion started off really
Oh,
good.
I loved. I was
Like the
so
first
disappointed
two,
with the
three
ending.
episodes
Yeah,
started off really good and just went,
fantastic.
I just really didn't like how it ended, right? So it's like there are glimpses of really great things even in the bad, right? So it's
Mhm.
like
That sounds
I
like
think
a great
a
edited, yeah.
majority of people are like us. Like we really enjoy a lot of it, even if it's not so good. We enjoy watching something from Marvel.
And we're rooting for it.
Yeah, there were some bad times in there, but yeah, we're rooting for it, and I don't think it's ever going away.
No.
I don't think it could. And if it went away, someone would bring it back eventually.
Yeah, somebody will buy it from Disney.
Right?
And they do
Yeah,
a better
it's just
job.
like
It's like,
I don't really ever, I don't see it ever going away, which is great because I love it. I love it all. But let us know all your guys' thoughts. Really, let us know. Let us know what you think. Let's try to be constructive. How about that? Not just I've hated this crap. Blah 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 blah
yeah, if you
blah.
have something
Let
negative
me
to
know
say,
why.
give a
Well,
why. Not
I
just
and
it's garbage. It's
right.
good.
It's okay to have an like if you didn't like it, that's fine. But let me
But
know
back it
why.
up.
Yeah, let me know why so I can at least learn how everyone is thinking, right? And if you do, if you have liked it, let me know why. Let us know why. And be on the lookout for our next podcast because maybe Chris will have more words because maybe more articles will come out.
Hey,
And
words do come from other words.
all words are
What
made
someone
up.
say? Yeah, all words are made up.
But anyways, thanks everybody for stopping by today. Super appreciate it. Be sure to like this video, hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and we'll catch you all in the next video. Woof woof.
Boom!